The big focus on the inauguration of the new Parliament building, Central Vista, that has now been readied. The inauguration is going to take place on 28th of May this year. Now, the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has announced about the date, and there is going to be a spectacular new features. There are handicrafts from all over the country and many other upgrades that the new Parliament building has been designed to work in conjunction with the existing Parliament building. It will contain expanded chambers from both houses as well as an open courtyard. There are all three of which that have been designed with inspiration that has been drawn from the national emblems of our country, the banyan tree, the lotus flower and the peacock. The building will also be equipped with the latest audiovisual technologies as well as various other technological updates for the different purposes. A Constitution Hall will also be the new feature of the new Parliament building and will enshrine the original Indian Constitution as well as the digital versions for perusal of our visitors and the members of the Parliament. We today take a closer look at the 2.5 years that it has taken for the Parliament building to be constructed. There have been crores and crores of rupees, in fact 1,000 crores that have been spent for this spectacular, magnificent building. Visuals on your screens of just a few weeks ago when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was present at the Central Vista and entered the Parliament building to take a look at and review at how the building was coming up. And this is when he actually took a look at this, when he actually reviewed the building, it was already almost complete, as you can see in the visuals. And in fact, this is a 65,000 square feet building with 4 floors that have been planned, that have been designed and now are being built as per the designs. I'm going to quickly bring to my viewers notice the difference that is between the new Parliament building and the present Parliament House. All right, let's take a look at our touchpad and replicate it on our television screen. All right, there you have it. So, this the triangular design that you see is the new Parliament building. The left hand side is the present Parliament building. This is in circular formation, and if I could zoom this in for you, let's start it from the top. So, Lok Sabha over here on the left hand side in the old Parliament building or the current Parliament building, it has about 500 plus seats capacity for the Lok Sabha members of the Parliament. When it comes to the Lok Sabha that has been created over here, the lower house, it has a capacity of 888 people that can be seated in this area. Then there is the Central Hall joint session over here. The Central Hall joint session was created separately in the old, if you can zoom in, this over here is the Central Hall joint session right in the middle of the circular building of the present Parliament, while the Central Hall joint session has been amalgamated with the Lok Sabha Parliament building over here. So, there is no Central Hall separate corner, but there is the Lok Sabha that can accommodate all the people who attend the meetings, the joint sessions over here within the Parliament, within the Lok Sabha area. Now, there is the Central Hall, there is another aspect of the Rajya Sabha. Now, Rajya Sabha at one point of time over here on the left hand side of the building could accommodate some 200 plus, 300 plus members of the Parliament. Here the capacity for the Rajya Sabha has been increased to about 500 and plus. So, again this is a more spacious, more sensibly designed building. It is triangular in space, therefore can accommodate more number of people. Like I said, it has been built on the area, the built up area is 65,000 square kilometers. I am going to quickly bring you, okay, all right. All right, I am being told that I am being joined by Sunil Deore. He is the sculptor of the Ashoka emblem statue in the new Parliament building. Let us quickly get him on the telecast with us. It's good to have you, Mr. Deore, on the telecast with us. And my first question is going to be about the new Parliament building. It is all set to be inaugurated at last. May 28th is when the announcement of the inauguration has been made. Is this a special moment for you and the work that you have put in as a building block to the new Parliament building?
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि जो पूरा कंट्री का पार्लियामेंट का डेमोक्रेटिक जो सबसे बड़ा डेमोक्रेसी है इंडिया में, और उसका क्राउन अपना अशोक स्तंभ है पार्लियामेंट का, वो बनाने का मौका मुझे मिला और मैंने उसको कंप्लीट किया और आज उसका इनॉग्रेशन हो रहा है, तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
Now, we have also seen there are several pictures of the new Parliament building, but on the government side of Central Vista, there were visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewing the new Parliament building that had come out just a month ago. But obviously, the nation is waiting with bated breath to have a look and feel once the Parliament building is officially open. If you could give me details about what kind of work has gone into building this Parliament building and what kind of study has been done by you?
इसके लिए हमने पूरा प्रॉपर म्यूजियम में जाके उसके सिंबल को स्टडी किया, उसकी डिग्निटी, उसका हिस्ट्री जानना और उसके बाद इसका काम चालू किया। और टोटल इसको 9 मंथ का पीरियड लगा, जो हमारे लिए बहुत चैलेंजिंग था, और वो कंप्लीट होने में 9 मंथ होगी मतलब लगे, और एक अच्छा गौरवान्वित फील होता है।
Also, sir, when did you start sculpting the national emblem that is going to be put atop this new Parliament building?
इसका स्टार्ट मैंने मतलब 2 साल पहले मुझे ये पहली बार इसका मैकेट बनाने के लिए बोला गया, इसका छोटा मॉडल। उसके बाद वो अप्रूवल हुआ बाय कमिटी टाटा प्रोजेक्ट लिमिटेड के आर्किटेक्चरल द्वारा, और उसके बाद मैंने ये बड़ा काम स्टार्ट किया, इसको कम से कम 2 साल पहले।
Okay, and also the kind of efforts that you had to take to ensure the accuracy of the designs of the national emblem.
उसका डिटेलिंग में स्टडी किया। हम जानते थे ये स्कल्पचर जो ओरिजिनल स्कल्पचर के 3 टाइम बिग है, तो उस हिसाब से हमने हर एंगल से उसका डिटेलिंग स्टडी किया। मतलब ओरिजिनल जो स्कल्पचर है 3 फीट है और उसका 10 टाइम के बिग है, तो उस हिसाब से हर पार्ट, हर मतलब लॉयन के डिटेल्स, उसका जो भी व्यू आएगा, पब्लिकली व्यू किस तरह से होगा, वो सब इमेजिन करके फिर वो हिसाब से हमने उसको एक्चुअल मेजरमेंट करके, और जैसे एक नाखून है उसका 10 टाइम बड़ा करके वो पार्ट किया, तो उसका ऐसा मेजरमेंट करके स्कैन करके उस हिसाब से इस पर काम किया गया।
Okay, also how did the project for the national emblem come to you? How did you feel at that moment?
नहीं, फीलिंग तो इससे पहले मैंने बहुत मतलब अशोक कालीन जो स्कल्पचर है उसका बहुत मैं एक्चुअली बहुत मैं अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ वो बात के लिए कि वो पीरियड में सम्राट अशोक ने जो बनवा लिया, जो 4 लॉयन चारों दिशा में रोरिंग विद पीस मैसेज स्प्रेड कर रहे हैं, तो ये अपने आप में एक बहुत कुछ कह जाता है। इसमें बुद्ध के मोटिव्स भी बेस पर लगे हुए हैं, जैसे हॉर्स है, एलिफेंट्स है, बुल है, वृषभ राशि, बाद में लॉयन है। तो ये सब बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था मेरे लिए वो, क्योंकि मैं बस क्यूरियस था ये सब इसका स्टडी करने के लिए। और वो काम मुझे करने को मिला। इसमें मैं बहुत मतलब बहुत एक आर्टिस्ट का ये रहता है ना, तो ख्वाब वैसा एक मतलब इस तरह का काम हम कर रहे हैं, और वो हजारों साल रहेगा जब तक अपना डेमोक्रेसी रहेगी, और वो एक क्राउन एज ए क्राउन रहेगा।
Okay, thank you, Sunil,
तो वो फिर
for for joining us on this telecast and sharing your views. All right, I'm being joined by Ravi, but it's good to have you, sir, on the telecast. Country is waiting with bated breath for the inauguration of the new Parliament building. People would want to go and see for themselves how the central vista has turned out after almost 100-year wait that the nation has had to see to ensure that a new building comes up. It's also important historically, keeping in mind that back in 1927 was when the first Parliament building had been constructed, and now almost after 100 years, the second one that has been constructed. Rajiv Bhatt, if you can hear us. Well, I can see Ravi on the telecast with us. Ravi Bhatt, can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can.
Sir, your first reaction now that the Parliament building, after being under construction for 2 years, a little more than 2 years, is now finally going to be open. The inauguration takes place on May 28th.
Well, let me tell you, this is such a historical event, because as we understand, way back in 1911, when it was decided that the capital should be shifted from Calcutta to Delhi, that was the time the decision was taken. And as we know that way back in 1921, the construction of this building was started. In 1927, the old Parliament building was completed. But as we understand, the requirement of that time, of that colonial ruler, was altogether different. It was more of a terrorize the people by the magnificent building to the subjects of India, rather than to make them feel comfortable by seeing the building. So that the entire thing which was done that time, it has been outdated. And now once the Britishers, they have gone from there, and we have been on our own. So it was our cultural requirement, as well as it was the requirement for our psychological well-being, that we must make a new building.
Was it more of a cultural requirement, but a practical requirement? Because the space in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha was minimal. It could not have a capacity to then accommodate every single one of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha members of the Parliament. The technology was outdated. They've been dilapidated. It was a dilapidated building.
See, that is what everyone understands. That is what everyone understands, that it was a requirement, technologically it was a requirement, fiscal requirement was there, but I am telling the cultural requirement also was there. That the kind of the approach of the entire building. This is not to terrorize, it is just not to terrorize by the magnificent view of the building. So that is, we have incorporated all these three elements in it. Physical requirement of building for the new requirement, number one, technological requirement, and number three, culture requirement was also required there.
Okay.
So that was the thing.
Okay, Utpal Kaul, I'm going to get you also into the conversation. And what I'm very interested and intrigued by is the sculpting, the woodwork, when it comes to getting worksmen, like for example, the sandstone that is used in the Parliament building is being brought from Rajasthan. The sculptors are also being brought from across the country. The woodwork and the workers are being brought from Nagpur. The carpets are being hand woven, and these worksmen, these craftsmen have been brought from Gujarat or from Kashmir. So it's an amalgamation of the various cultural aspects of our country, who have been brought together to build this beautiful spectacle that is our new Parliament building at Central Vista.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me for this discussion. Let me tell you that old Parliament building was a British architecture and it was a colonial architecture. It was, as Mr. Ravi Bhatt said, we call it imposing architecture, imposing huge building, telling Indians that see what we can make. And it was Indian labor, it was Indian money, but it was British architecture, or what we call as colonial ideas, with Luton and Baker, two famous architects who made New Delhi also. But at that point of time, if we see the population of India, and it was basically a council house, and population of India was not more than 200 million. And see, it is now huge requirement to have new Parliament building. You have already mentioned there are how much increase of seats are there, and it is most modern building with digital facilities. Here, whole building, of course, will be air conditioned, and there are so many more important and modern things have been put into it. But with the Indian, what we call now, it is a Bharat. It is not now colonial, it is our own. So we have Ashoka's symbol there. So that is the most important thing. Mr. Sunil has done a great work and whole of nation appreciates his work. But the handicrafts from Kashmir and from Nagpur or from Gujarat. So it is, this Parliament is really representing whole of Bharat, whole of India, right from what is in because of the handicrafts of different places and the paintings. I know IGNCA, Indira Gandhi National Center of Art, has done a great job. They have been given this work. And so the interior is fantastic. It will be one of the most beautiful and appreciative. Everyone will appreciate it, and it will go for long. That it will be for another 100 years.
Okay, Sumit, again, Sumit, get into the conversation. The point I want to emphasize is that when a piece of infrastructure is almost 100 years old, it becomes practically impossible to continue to use it. There were a lot of brickbats that the government of India had to face when this foundation stone of the new Parliament building was laid in 2020. And do you think now, now that the Parliament has been constructed, it is now being appreciated across all spectrum, keeping in mind how important it was, how essential and imperative it was for India to have its central vista to be spick and span?
You see, Meghaji, the people realize one thing: what is the importance of this Parliament? Because if you go back at your home or my home, or millions of people watching this broadcast, do we use a utensil which is 100 years old? Do you and me live in a 100-year-old house? Is your studio 100 years old? Is your car 100 years old? Is your phone? Is your watch? Is your TV? Is your refrigerator? What is 100 years old? What you lose in your and my life? Nothing. Even the office is not 100 years old. Now, the problem here is that in India, when you talk of development, when you talk of breaking that gulami ki zanjeere, a lot of people have the problem. When Netaji's statue was put in the Kartavya Path, people have problems with that. When you name Rajpath as Kartavya Path, people will have problems with that. They will tell you, why are you burning the money? But the amount of rent government was paying, when it was hiring a lot of accommodations out of India, out of the Central Vista area, now this money is 2 years, it will be covered in 2 years. So that is not the question. You want to go to see a Luru, you want to go and see a Versailles, you want to go and talk about everything which is British, which is American, which is this. But when it comes to building something which is Indian, which is made in India, by independent India, and a resolute leader like Narendra Modi ji, you seem to have problems because you don't want Narendra Modi's legacy live. Problem hai because the foundation stone laid by Narendra Modi, inauguration done by Narendra Modi, problem is there. Problem is there. When you ask people across the walks of life, they will have no problems with it. They will welcome it. They'll want it to have it because we all are having modern things in our life. But a 100-year-old building with no architectural drawing, we don't know how strong is the base. We don't know how strong is this in earthquake resistance. We don't know what is the security of this. Because when you talk of today's time, this building is platinum compliant when it comes to sustainable energy. The quantum of security we need is altogether different. The security gazettes, the security mechanisms, which nobody talks, will be there. It will be state of art. So there are a lot of things which we need: sustainability, security, energy. This parliament is the piece which talks to the world what is Indian power about. We are talking of the 5th largest economy, and we live in a 100-year-old building given to us by Britishers, and we say this is our legacy, this is what we are good at. No, that is not India what it is. India is a powerful nation. When you have the third most powerful air force, 4th biggest army in the world, why do you want to have a 100-year-old parliament? That is the question we ask. But the problems are not economic. It's not about money by any means. It is about the legacy. It is about why Modi took this initiative, why we were in slumber for 65 years. You don't want BJP and Modi's symbols to remain. Even people have problem with this G20 symbol when you have a lotus inside it. And lotus to Mata Lakshmi ka, it is associated with Mata Lakshmi. It is the asana of Mata Lakshmi. It is not only the symbol of BJP, but it resembles BJP symbol. That is where the problem is. But BJP might get some mileage out of it. That is where the problem is. Why could this Modi do what we could not do in 65 years? That is where the problem is. That is the whole problem. They want this relics of dinosaur era and the imperialistic era to remain, so that Lutyens Delhi remains the way it is, the Khan market functions the way it is, the Khan market again functions the way it,
right.
And it is all given to us by British. We could do nothing. That is what they love to believe. But India has changed. It is no longer the time.
This is definitely one aspect of how India is changing. Of course, like I said, we have already gotten a glimpse with the Kartavya Path that had been launched by Prime Minister in September 2022, and now the big step of the entire Parliament building being inaugurated. There are going to be thousands and thousands of people, Indians, who would want to visit the new Parliament building at Central Vista and be proud of our new structures and new constructions that have taken place, showcasing, symbolizing an India that is more evolved, an India that is in the new horizons of taking large steps, taking big steps towards its goals and its ambitions.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.